so I found out basically that I had missed my flight, and what really happened was that I got the wrong date. I got the date when I was getting there, and I thought I was leaving. So here I am, a single woman at night at an airport in India. I didn't know what to do, so I called my friend who is the laughter teacher, and you know what he did? I never, ever, ever, ever forget that. He just laughed at me. He laughed and laughed and laughed, which seemed like forever. And I did not feel like laughing, that's for sure. And then he just said, well, that just means you have to stay in India a little bit longer. And, then he made arrangements for me to come and stay at a place, and everything worked out. But so in this moment, I certainly didn't feel like laughter.
Definitely not. Now, Dean, real quickly, because I want to tie in the conversation to all of them together, and I also want to bring back in my filmmaker as well. But, Dean, you work, in addition to being my partner in crime, you work in the prison system. So I'm wondering, do we have incidences where you have to use dogs in the prison that you work at? I know you're an administrator, but also how do y'all use laughter with the prisons? Because I'm imagining both working with the prisoners and working – the prisoners don't feel like laughing, and I'm imagining that y'all in the administration don't feel like laughing half the time either, because that's a very tight environment.
I have to tell you, I have been in Atlanta in the prison system, and I did a laughter session. And I did it once with women, and they had so much fun, and there was so much laughter. And so I was actually invited to come back again. And so there are things, because, see, the thing I'm teaching is people, you don't have to rely on jokes or humor or comedy. You can just decide to laugh for health reasons and just because. So I am teaching people interactively how to laugh. And you even have a chance to fake it till you make it, because your body doesn't care if you are real or if you're not real. If you feel like laughter or not, you just start laughing. And so I loved working in the prison system.
Wow.
I didn't do a lot of it, but I did some of it. And it has been sanctioned by the administration, and so it's a good thing. It's just like pets have also an incredible effect, because they just have something in the nature that nobody else has. Right? I mean, to touch a pet, to hold a pet, it's just, so wonderful for people who don't always have a chance to do that.
That's very true. So are you saying that you should to have like a go-to joke or something to create the laughter, or are you just saying that people can just burst out into laughter without having something that's going to be a stimulus for the laughter?
I am totally not against something that's funny or joke or something like that, but what I'm saying is that you don't need that. You can just decide that you want to do it. And 10 minutes of belly laughter is like half an hour of any other aerobic exercise. So
wow.
It's like taking your internal organs and taking them jogging when you're laughing, because when you do ho 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 and ha 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 you use different parts of your body that you usually don't use.
That's very true. Corey, if you're still there, because sometimes I wonder about that even with our animals, because it seems to me that sometimes animals seem to sometimes have this smile on their face, and I sometimes wonder if they're not getting the jokes that we're not getting, because sometimes if you get the feeling that they might be laughing too, because I do see sometimes animals that have like a smile on their face, and it might be that they're out jogging or something of that nature. I mean, one of the jokes I have around here, because I live near Duke's campus, is oftentimes they're walkers, and sometimes I'll ask the owners whether they're walking the dog or the dog is walking them. But I'll also sometimes get to look at the dogs as if the dogs are looking, particularly on a rainy day, as if like, we really don't need to be out here. I'd be perfectly fine if you take me back in the house.
That's very true. Dogs actually do laugh. It has been sort of determined that, especially when they're playing with that open mouth that you're describing, with that smile, there's sort of a breathy pant that happens, and it only happens at those times. So it has been determined that's sort of the equivalent of dogs laughing, and I'm sure it's with other species too. And I don't know if it's laughing out of humor, or it's probably just laughing because they're having fun. But dogs absolutely, they laugh. They laugh, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's discovered in almost every other species that's out there as well.
Wow. Yeah, definitely I can see that. Dean, do we still have the filmmaker on as well?
Still here?
Yes, we do.
Good. So tell me, how important is laughter and things, even in terms of your writing your script? So I imagine that as you're writing some of these things that you're writing, a lot of these things are probably going to have some comedy involved in addition to the narrative, maybe more drama aspects. So would you consider your writing more comical or more dramatic, or a mixture thereof?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say a mixture, and I think one of the loves I have about like storytelling is the catharsis of laughter, of like kind of like the verge of like, laughter to actually crying. I love like coming of age films and dramas like that. So anything that will bring me to tears. I always rant to my friends about like I remember watching Wonder Years when I was growing up, and like every episode I was like crying, but it was this very cathartic crying that wasn't a negative cry. It was very positive and healthy, and I feel the same way about laughter too. And I love, and I've written some comedy work in the past. I tend to be a little drier in my comedy. So yeah, laughter and amazing. Yes.
And who were some of the people, just in terms of your own writing, that inspired you and got you into writing? And tell us a little bit about some of your current projects while we've got you on the line. I'd like to hear some of the current projects if you want to give people your website where folks can find you. But definitely tell people about your current projects and some of your inspirations.
So people can follow me. I'm at Vim Crony, VIM as in Mary, CRON as in Nancy, Y, Vim Crony. But I'm working on a lot of shorts right now. I love the short form format because it gives me a lot of freedom to just kind of tell a quick story, and they're fun. So I do a lot of, like I said, I'm working on a lot of science fiction genre stuff, and a lot of it has to deal with, I think, relationships, and kind of like weaving into that like a more speculative fiction aspect. So like I'm really interested in like vampires and werewolves and outer space and all and the afterlife. I'm really interested in the afterlife. So I'm working on a lot of stuff like that. To kind of pay the bills right now, I'm working with this studio called Wild Brain, and doing actually kind of like a kids superhero TV show. And we're in post-production with that right now, and I wrote a bunch of episodes for that and directed a bunch of episodes for that. So that's been really fun because I've worked with kids before in the past doing a lot of music video stuff, and that's kind of where I guess I have like a background in music videos because I was born in the 80s, but I remember just watching a lot of like 80s, 90s MTV things. So I've worked with kids in music videos, but this was a more extensive thing with a lot more kids, and that was really fun and funny. There's a lot of laughing, and on my sets. Speaking of laughter, I love laughter and like freeness and calmness and taking my time. I'm not a really like tense filmmaker director person, and I've worked with filmmakers that are like that their sets are so just like stressful. But I can't do that. I need time to breathe and to laugh and to make jokes and to, just be like myself and not be, that's, I don't know, I feel like maybe this was brought up, but like that's a lot of this world right now is everyone's like, it's a rat race and everyone's so serious and like running around. And I get that to a large extent because a lot of us have experienced so much trauma. And there's a lot of like survival on folks' ends of just trying to like eat every day. So I totally get that. But hopefully we can change that, and I hope to change that in my film work and like showing us doing things that maybe we haven't seen before. I'm a young black filmmaker, and I feel like if I was 4, 5, 6, if I would have seen someone that looked like me that could have inspired me to do other things that I didn't think of just because I didn't see myself doing those things, how beneficial that would have been. Luckily, I think I turned out okay, but and I think the world is definitely slowly changing. But yeah, so I'm just making work and trying to live my life to the fullest.
Yep. And who were some of your inspirations? Where you said you were around in the 80s? Was it people like Spike? Was it people like the Hudlins, or was it certain folks like that were your inspirations? Or did you have maybe your dad was just telling short stories at home that got you inspired?
I'll say my mom. My mom, I have vivid memories of her taking me to the movie theaters. And as far as people that like filmmakers' work that I love, yeah, for sure, Spike. Robert Townsend. I remember because I feel like he had such an original idea with the Meteor Man film. Maybe not the greatest film, but I appreciated it even as a kid. And I ended up just watching it like a lot of TV and maybe things that that aren't necessarily associated with like the African American experience, but it still resonated with me. And yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Bridget, if you're still there, what advice if somebody's just thinking about how they want to get into laughter and things of that nature? If one might be to attend your seminar, but what other ways can people do if they're in like tense environments to create this kind of laughter that you're hoping that people will do more of?
Well, if there's anything that I want people to know is that laughter is the fastest stress relief. Our body cannot be stressed when we're laughing. So that's, so you basically have that possibility right there with you. And that's why I'm trying to get people to get back in touch with their inner child, with when they were laughing and the benefits of laughter. And even if we say, okay, we cannot do it, well, at some point there was a time we could do it, because how many times do you think little children laugh a day? Like a 4-year-old, 3 or 4-year-old.
Yeah, that's true. They do laugh on a constant basis. I remember when my nephews, because I have 2 nephews, I remember when they were 10 and 11, and they used to laugh on a regular basis. Sometimes it even things that we might not find all that funny, but they found humor in it for whatever reasons. We might have considered it silly.
Because it doesn't matter. There has to be no reason to do that. And so that little kids laugh up to 400 times a day. 400 times a day. And how often do adults laugh? The average adult? Less than 10 times a day.
Wow. Yeah, we've definitely got to do a better job of laughter. But then sometimes, I guess the question that some people would ask you is, how can you have laughter when we're going through all these hard times and craziness going on around the world? But that sometimes people, I guess, want to take it too seriously, some of the things that are happening either in their own state, their own region, their own nation, their own world. I mean, I'm thinking about things like climate change and other things that people get stressed out about.
Right. So we have a choice. Say you, for example, you get a ridiculously high phone bill, right? And you can either